4 real urban legends you've never heard before. The Candyman. October 31st, 1994, Cabrini Green Housing Projects, Chicago, Illinois. It was Halloween night in the heart of one of Chicago's most infamous housing projects. Cabrini Green had long been a breeding ground for legends and fear, its crumbling towers echoing with ghost stories and distant sirens. In Building 14, under flickering hallway lights and peeling paint, 16-year-old Jamal Harris led his younger cousin and 2 friends into the old, abandoned communal bathroom on the 2nd floor. The dare was simple. Look into the cracked mirror and say his name 5 times. Jamal had heard the stories his whole life, but never believed them until that night. Candyman, 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 Candyman. The 4th utterance hung in the air like cigarette smoke. Then a pause. One of the boys giggled nervously. Jamal, not one to back down, leaned closer to the mirror and whispered the 5th name. The flashlight flickered, then died. Complete darkness swallowed the room, and an unnatural chill slithered down their spines. The silence was broken only by the sudden, delicate sound of cracking glass. The mirror split slowly without any apparent impact, just long, jagged fractures blooming outward like ice on a window. From within those cracks came a low, almost reverent whisper, and then they saw it. A glint of rusted metal, a hook dragging gently across the tile floor, carving deep scratches with every slow pass. Only Jamal made it out of that bathroom. He was found at dawn, standing barefoot in the hallway, staring blankly ahead. He never spoke again, his mind trapped in whatever he had seen behind that mirror. March 3rd, 2011, New Orleans, Louisiana. 17 years later, and nearly 1,000 miles south, the legend found its way to New Orleans. The city was shrouded in a heavy fog that night, still recovering from the chaos of Mardi Gras. In the Garden District, tucked among ancient oaks and iron-laced balconies, stood a creaking Victorian house converted into a college rental. 4 Tulane students had gathered there, 2 psychology majors, an anthropology grad student, and Lila Moreau, who had a fascination with folklore that often crossed into obsession. That night, they weren't just sharing ghost stories, they were conducting a seance for a research project on the power of belief. At the center of the candlelit table sat an antique hand mirror Lila had bought in the French Quarter, its silver backing worn and tarnished. She was the one who insisted on trying it. "It's only a story," she said. "Let's test it." The candle flickered, then silence. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then came the sound, soft at first, like scratching inside the walls. Then louder, a scraping, metallic sound. The scent of honey filled the room, cloying and strange, followed by something far worse. The stench of rot. Bees began crawling from the mirror's frame, dozens of them moving in slow, deliberate patterns, their wings humming an otherworldly tune. One of the students screamed and shattered the mirror with a chair, sending shards skittering across the wooden floor. The lights surged back on. Lila was gone. No scream, no struggle, no trace. Just her empty chair, an overturned glass, and on the floor, where the mirror had been, lay a single blood-slicked hook. The Chupacabra. The first whispers of the Chupacabra surfaced in March 1995 in the small town of Canovanas, Puerto Rico. Farmers awoke to a scene of terror. Dozens of sheep, each with strange puncture wounds, their bodies completely drained. Witnesses described a reptilian beast with spines running down its back, glowing red eyes piercing through the dark. Later that same year, across the ocean in August 1995, Mocha, Puerto Rico was gripped by similar horror. Locals spoke of a series of bizarre livestock deaths. Chickens, goats, and cows found lifeless, untouched by predators, yet eerily bloodless. Some claimed to see a creature darting between the trees, too fast for human eyes, leaving only the echo of its presence. By September 1995, the phenomenon spread to Caguas, another town deep in the heart of Puerto Rico. A woman named Madeline Tolentino reported a chilling encounter near her home. She described a creature eerily similar to the one from Canovanas, humanoid but monstrous with an alien appearance, large black eyes and clawed hands. Her detailed account would soon become the most famous early description of the Chupacabra and helped shape the popular image of the beast. Within months, the legend had crossed waters, with alleged sightings reported across Mexico, Chile, and even into the southern United States, each tale carrying the same eerie thread: animals found lifeless, bloodless, and a shadow in the dark that could not be explained. The legend of the Bunny Man. In the quiet town of Clifton, Virginia, there's a legend so unsettling, it's whispered on dark nights and shared around campfires, a story that blurs the line between the real and the supernatural. It's a tale of fear, mystery, and an eerie figure that still haunts the woods. This is the story of the legend of the Bunny Man. It all begins in the early 1900s, though some say the origins are older, possibly lost to time. But the most widely known account dates back to 1904. Clifton, a small and unsuspecting town, had its peaceful existence disrupted by a figure that seemed to emerge from the very shadows of the nearby woods. No one knew exactly who he was or where he came from, but the rumors began to spread. A man in a bunny costume, stalking the woods with a terrifying purpose. The first encounter happened one fateful night when a group of young people were driving through the woods near the old Colchester overpass, a dark stretch of road where the trees grow so thick they block out most of the moonlight. They were laughing, chatting, enjoying a night of freedom when they noticed something strange at the edge of the road, something standing motionless in the shadows. The figure was tall, dressed in what appeared to be a white bunny costume, but as they got closer, they realized something was horribly wrong. The bunny was not just an innocent prankster wearing a mask. It was a grotesque and terrifying figure, with wild dark eyes and a menacing posture. He didn't move at first, but suddenly, with a crazed burst of energy, he lunged at their car, brandishing a hatchet. The terrified group sped away, the image of the crazed bunny man haunting their minds. They reported the incident to the authorities, but when they came to search the area, there was no sign of the strange figure, only the eerie feeling that something malevolent lurked in those woods. But that wasn't the only encounter. Over the next few months, more people reported seeing the Bunny Man. It was always the same. He'd appear suddenly, sometimes standing in the middle of the road, other times watching from behind trees, his eyes gleaming with an unnatural intensity. And each time there was something more disturbing about him: the bloodshot eyes, the wild grin, and most unsettling of all, the hatchet. In one particularly horrifying report, a man driving alone through the same stretch of road found himself suddenly stopped by a figure dressed in that same white bunny costume. As the man attempted to drive past, the bunny man ran at his car, smashing the windshield with a brutal swing of his hatchet. The driver sped off, but by the time the authorities arrived, there was no trace of the man or his attacker. As the legend grew, so did the mystery surrounding the bunny man's identity. Some claimed he was a deranged escapee from an asylum, one of the many rumors surrounding his origins. Others believed he was the vengeful spirit of a man wronged, someone who had taken to wearing a bunny costume as a symbol of his twisted revenge. No one could say for sure who or what he was. But then, in 1970, something happened that only added to the legend. A construction worker in Clifton discovered a disturbing scene in the woods near Colchester Overpass. Severed rabbit carcasses strung up in the trees, hanging by their ears like grim trophies. The police were called, and though they searched the area, they found no trace of the bunny man. But the grisly display served as an ominous sign that something was indeed out there, something with a hunger for violence, something that had been watching the town for far longer than anyone realized. To this day, no one really knows who the bunny man is, or was. Some say he still roams the woods, his haunting figure appearing to those who dare to wander too close to the Colchester Overpass after dark. Others believe he was a figment of the imagination, an urban legend that grew out of the twisted minds of locals. The body under the bed. Our story begins in the 1950s in Los Angeles, a city known for its bright lights, bustling streets, and the endless rush of people coming and going. One woman new to the city was on the hunt for a place to live. She found a modest, somewhat worn apartment in a quiet part of town. Nothing fancy, but it was affordable, and in a city like LA, that was enough. At first, everything seemed normal. She unpacked, settled in, and tried to make the place feel like home, but over time, things began to feel off. There was a musty odor in the air, a strange, almost sour smell that lingered no matter how much she cleaned. It wasn't quite mildew, but it was something older, something rotten, but she dismissed it. Perhaps it was just the age of the building. One evening, after a long day of work, she decided to do some cleaning. She moved her furniture around, tidied up, and set her sights on the area under the bed. She hadn't really thought about it before, but something compelled her to take a look. She knelt down and reached under the frame with her hand. As her fingers brushed against the floorboards, she immediately felt something cold, something wrong. A chill ran up her spine as she pulled back the bed. There was an obstruction. She couldn't explain it at first. It felt like a bundle of clothes or a box. But when she yanked the bed away from the wall and looked beneath it, her blood ran cold. There, beneath the bed, covered by a rotting blanket, was the body of a man. The corpse was mummified, skin pale and waxy, barely recognizable as human. It had clearly been there for months, possibly even years. The smell, now overpowering, was enough to make her gag. It wasn't just the odor of decay, it was the smell of something long forgotten, left to rot in the dark recesses of the apartment. Her mind raced. How was this possible? The apartment had been rented out to her just recently. She hadn't seen a thing when she first moved in. And worse, there were no signs of a struggle, no obvious clues to suggest foul play. She hesitated, but only for a moment, before she did what anyone in her position would do. She called the police. When the authorities arrived, they quickly took control of the situation. The body was removed and an investigation was launched. It didn't take long for the truth to surface. The previous tenant of the apartment, a man in his early 30s, had mysteriously disappeared months earlier. No one had heard from him. No one had seen him leave. He had simply vanished. The police had looked into his disappearance, but there had been no evidence of foul play. No blood, no signs of a struggle, just an empty apartment and a trail that led nowhere. Now, in a turn of events that left everyone stunned, the woman had stumbled upon the gruesome truth. The man had been murdered. His body had been hidden under the bed, left to decompose in the dark corner of the apartment, forgotten by all. As the investigation unfolded, even more chilling details emerged. The apartment complex had been rented out again and again, each new tenant unaware of the grim secret lurking beneath the bed. The building had been cleared, and the body had remained undiscovered. There were no warnings. No one thought to look under the bed, assuming the apartment was just another ordinary place to live. And yet, despite everything, there it was, a lifeless body. decomposing quietly beneath the bed, waiting for someone to uncover its grisly secret. And that perhaps is the most unsettling aspect of this urban legend, the eerie thought that a body could lie beneath you, hidden in plain sight. The thought that something or someone could be right there under your very nose, waiting for you to notice.